I want to go for study abroad. Should I go Europe? Oh, Germany is there in Europe. Okay, US also there. Oh, no. I will not go US. US too much COVID. But some Meenakshi said in Germany, the 3 years, not that much publications. Oh my God, Germany also some problem. Australia. Oh, Australia is there. Oh, Canada is also there. Okay, Australia, Canada, Europe, US. US. No. Canada. Oh my God, too much confusion. Too much confusion. I know these questions normally happens in your mind. I know you don't have answer. This video is just for you. Here today with us, Abhirup is there. Hi, this is Shan. Welcome to our series Admission in Focus. And Abhirup is here to give us the information how to choose where you should go if you are really motivated. Hi, Abhirup. Welcome to our
Hi,
channel.
hi, Shan. Thank you. It's a long time to talk with you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Just watching some web series and trying to learn some kitchen.
Yeah, the same things. Yeah. So, yeah, go on. I,
Mm. So Abhirup has completed his masters from IIT Kharagpur and now just going to join Australia Good Lab. So Abhirup, why not you are introducing you to our viewers?
well, I completed my bachelor Sharon is my long friend since my standard one. So, it is now almost 17 years. And we studied together until our standard 12, and then he went to Belur Vidya Mandir for chemistry honors, and I came to Narendrapur Ramakrishna Mission for the same thing, both from similar background. And he ultimately went to for masters after taking the jam. He went to IIT Kanpur and me to IIT Kharagpur. And now again we are meeting after a long time. I mean, in between probably we haven't been. Yeah, we took our internships together. That background is again similar. So we have a very common years and very similar background and similar choices from that perspective, and obviously the same friend's choice. And mm, I just completed my master's in chemistry from IIT Kharagpur. Those who know the IIT systems, that we don't have any that kind of specialization, but we have freedom to choose our interests in different perspective. And my interest was mostly in inorganic chemistry and material science. And my final year master thesis was in the batteries. The batteries, and electrochemistry as a whole, and also sensing. And now I am more motivated to work on the materials perspective and to go beyond the solid state batteries and to introduce new technology in the field, and also in situ studies if possible. I will be going to do my PhD from University of New South Wales, Sydney. And I mean, I was offered two to three positions from US, but I chose Australia. It was not about the country choice. I would like to highlight that all the offers I got from US and Australia, they all were equally good. And for me, I spent, I think, more than 3 weeks. Shannon would understand that. I also talked to him at that time that it was a very hard choice to make, because all of the professors were good and all of the interests were so similar to my own interest of materials and electrochemistry. But I finally chose this probably because of the solid state batteries and the new technologies. So let's see, how it will go for the next 3.5 to 4 years. I'm not quite sure. Pandemic changed us a lot. So that is another perspective to consider. Uh, Regarding the country choices, as Sharon told, well, that is a hard choice to make. Depends on, some people go by the country, but I never went in that way. Yeah, country matters, because if I consider US, Germany, Switzerland, Netherlands, or even in Asia like Singapore, South Korea, Japan, they really invest a lot in the research and development. If you just Google and go to Wikipedia, you will find the highest percentage in terms of GDP actually they are spending into the research. And there are some countries which are actually spending more than them, but we really don't know their names, like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland. I mean, they don't come into the first in place in our mind. I mean, we really consider them as the second choices, but uh, what really matters? It's very hard question to ask, because I know, uh, I mean, I have a relative who did his PhD from EPFL, and I have known many important, I mean, many great professors, and who did their PhD in not so known universities of India. So the choices of the place doesn't, I mean, shouldn't depend on the country. It is my perspective, my opinion, but also that matters, like, please don't choose North Korea over US. So you got my point, I think, or China over US. So you need to understand that where you need to balance or not. Applying to US is a little bit easier among the foreign countries because of two things. It's a single window approach, and there is a formal procedure. I mean, it's step by step. It's very much compact. But when it comes to other countries, then your tasks in terms of searching, the lab, in terms of searching the position, in terms of searching the scholarship funding, it becomes tedious. But in terms of easiness, I would not want to comment, because I only applied to one lab in Australia and I got there, and I applied to 9 universities in US. I got interview offer from 6, and ultimately got selected into 3, kind of 2. It was direct. In third one, well, I rejected that, I mean, before even their offer. So it was kind of 3 to 2 to 3. So you can understand that there is no guarantee. Even I know a student from math who applied to 12 universities and got rejected from each one, and he has a very nice profile, including a rank in IIT Kharagpur. So I mean, those who are actually applying, they really know that what is the ground. It depends on your interest, it depends on the available funding, and it depends also a bit on luck. But you application to US universities, they have some procedures like SOPs, and then I mean, sitting for GRE examination, and some English test, either TOEFL or IELTS. I would like to comment on that in latter part, and then obviously your CV and your experience and how you are presenting yourself. That comes into the SOP part. Uh, I mean, we all know that SOP is one of the most tedious job in case of US application, and most important part. The universities like the top, I mean, the Ivy League, they actually sometimes tell that 30 to 40% of your application weightage goes to SOP rather than your past experience. And what I would suggest, what I did, it was like I built a master SOP of 800 words, because some US universities will ask you to 2 pages, 1.5 to 2 pages of SOP, and some universities will ask you 1 page. If you are following a standard Times New Roman font and 12 font size and with a capping of 1, then it will be 500 to 600 words, around 600 words on fast 1 page, so 1200 on 2 pages. And I would like to suggest, so it's easy to increase, but it's hard to make it compact. So you need to start early. I mean, I particularly experienced the best university. My best choice was, I can name the university, obviously, Northwestern. And it was my first application, but which I think I submitted the application around mid of December. Yeah, before, I think around 12 to 13 December. And my last choice on my list was Colorado State University, and I submitted that application, I think, first week of January. Now, if I compare I mean, from my perspective, if I compare the standard of the SOP, I would like to give 8 out of 10 to Colorado State and 6 out of 10 to my Northwestern application. Though Northwestern application,
Interpret one thing, the timeline, can you repeat again? Timeline, I think that from mid-December, some good university like Harvard, that goes on the December 1st, and many university goes on December 15th, is it?
it is not like that, like the good universities or mid-range universities. Generally, the university application period of US starts from November and it continues to January. So what we apply is the early application deadline. And because the early application deadline, which are, I mean, who are getting through the early application deadline, they will obviously be given a scholarship, but who are applying it latter phases, they might not be offered a position even, and scholarship, obviously the chances become lower. So but if they have a particular deadline, it doesn't mean that earlier you apply than the deadline you have a higher chance. Whoever is applying before the deadline, everyone has an equal chance to be considered for that position, if otherwise not mentioned. And like for my case, Northwestern is one of the top universities in US. I mean, it's an Ivy League. And I also considered one another, like I considered U Chicago. I think, I'm sorry. Can you?
Yeah, we can hear you. Sorry for the interpretation.
Yeah, I think some electromagnetic interference is there. So if I
Okay.
go through the, so where was I? Yeah. So University of Chicago, if it has an early deadline of, I think, first week of December, or 15 December, I'm not quite sure, but Northwestern had a deadline of 20 December. So it depends. I mean, and there are also Purdue. It's a top university. It's one of the big names, but it has a very latter time of deadline. I mean, like, it's sometimes it comes to 1st January, sometimes it goes beyond 15th January. And also it matters on the department, because I would like to mention I applied to Case Western Reserve, from which I rejected the offer. I mean, the moment they gave me that they have, I mean, I applied to the material science departments of Case Western Reserve, and material science had a deadline of 15th January, but chemistry department of Case Western Reserve has had a deadline of 30th December. So departments, change of departments also changes. And yeah, there is also another benefit of applying early. Like for mines, as the deadline was 30th December, I applied before 15 December. Because of their technical glitch, I had to suffer some problems regarding payment. So what they did, they, as a compensatory remarks, they just gave me a fee waiver. I mean, they waived my application fee completely. It was $80, and it matters because average university application fee in US will be $80 to $100. And if you are applying to California universities, I mean universities from California or Arizona, then that might become around 120 to 140, $150. And obviously the Ivy League universities have a higher application fee. So applying early sometimes can give you a gain. And as I got application fee waiver from 3 departments, 2 as a full and 1 as partial, I would very much like to tell everyone who are interested in applying US that please be careful. Look for any waiver you are getting. I mean, sometimes the waiver comes to only Indian students, sometimes the waiver comes to only female students, partial waiver, full waiver. So I mean, a single dollar being saved means you are saving almost 75 rupees in India. So that matters, and just look for it. And yeah, SOP. I mean, I told you about the SOP. Just one
So
thing: never ever copy. I mean,
going
never
to
ever. Yeah.
before going to SOP, can you tell us the procedure how to search professor? Means how to I can think that okay, this lab can be appropriate for me.
Well, if you are planning to apply for US in the fall, so then you should start 1 year early. Start making, not searching the prof initially. At least start making what is your bread and butter, what is going to be your bread and butter after the PhD. Because I mean, it doesn't matter that you did chemistry and you can't move into molecular biology. I have a friend. I mean, she was the topper of the integrated batch of IIT Kharagpur, and she was in chemistry, but she is now moving into molecular cancer biology, to be specific, in John Hopkins. So you can understand, you can actually jump into other fields too, but you need to be prepared early. I mean, you need to know that what you want, and never choose, like for one university you chose biologics and for another you went for materials. Then it will make your life a problem, because it will make you hard to prepare an SOP. Then you have to prepare obviously two SOPs, completely different. And yeah, one thing, SOPs should be different for different universities. There is no question, because they understand that otherwise student just copy paste. Because I heard a story where one student last year sent Princeton IEL university application. So you can understand that what happens with them to see the name of the university wrong. So you need to start early. You need to take care of those silly mistakes and never ever do any kind of plagiarism. I mean, knowingly. It can happen unknowingly, but never ever do it knowingly. Make it as much as simple, but with a decent English, with a decent word choices, academic word choices. Because sometimes, see, in our talks we are talking about it is easy to detect, maybe we can talk it about, but in science we never call it in that way. So you need to understand that what is appropriate for our academic perspective, what is the appropriate word choices. And there are a lot of, I mean, lot of good websites where you can find those words which are appropriate for technical writing. I mean, this comes into part of the technical writing.
Can you
And
name some websites?
well, I don't remember exactly, but what I can suggest that Elsevier and also Willy, they have two publications. You just find that Elsevier technical writing or research thesis vocabulary. They have a list of words which are, I mean, they have actually a vocabulary kind of which we commonly use as a mistake and what we can use instead of them. So there is a list. You need to find them. I mean, it's Elsevier and Willy. These are good choices. There are Royal Society, but it's a long one. They have 64 pages kind of thing. But I would suggest to go with the, because it's not, we are not talking about technical writing in review paper or research paper, research articles. So we are talking about SOPs. So yeah, some, but one thing I heard, like, I mean, I heard it from a prof who, I mean, who is in there, that don't use quotation in science perspective. If it is in arts, it's okay to go, but sometimes people also use quotations in scientific perspective. You should not use, but yeah, if it is very much relevant, you can obviously use. Like last year, Professor Good enough got the Nobel, and if someone is applying to battery in, I mean, lithium ion battery in US, he should mention good enough's name. He can mention a good enough's line. It can be fine. I mean, but it should not be philosophical line. It should be related to your research. That's what I got to say.
So in my SOP, can you just suggest which things to include? How much should I write for SOP? Who's the
Well,
main point to include?
I am not asking you to brag, but I am not also forbidding it. I think there is a talk in Hindi, समझदारों के लिए इशारा ही काफी है. So
Uh,
I am talking in that way. Don't brag. I mean, don't brag something which you don't have. But if you have something, don't shy away from advertising it, because yeah, I mean, they are not come going. I mean, going to judge you on them, but they are actually going to see that how you can represent, because science is not just about research, science is also about communicating it. They actually are looking for it. They know all their who are applying to their university, 90% of them are similar in terms of their brilliance in work, but where are they making the difference? The difference is how they are representing it, how they are communicating it to others. Can they tell? Because the question, I mean, that was a failed interview for me, but he is one of the greatest materials researcher. I mean, Yuri Gogutsi. He has an H index of 159. So when I got the offer of the interview, I just thought it is one of the blessings to me. And after their interview, they gave me a feedback. They called me and they told me, yeah, it was good. They gave me 95 percentile on the interview, but my
exactly.
competition.
That if you have achieved small things, let's say you have learned a biotechnological technique, but you are not sure that you can apply in a
No, no,
lab. So
everything
also
matters.
include
Everything matters. It doesn't. When my first two internships, one in my college and after the college before joining IIT Kharagpur, two internships were in drug research. So drug design and development, basically bioactive molecule design and development. But I am completely in a material science field, and from that time I was actually interested in material science. But during undergraduate, it is hard to get opportunities in material science because of our course structure, and obviously lack of exposure also another reason. But when I thought that should I mention about those internships in my SOP or not, one of my senior who actually is now, I think, in uh, I just forgot the university name. Yeah, he is in Rice University, Ojoy M. Pulikan. He told like I should mention everything, and also to professors who did their PhD from US, they also told, yeah, you should mention, because what it suggests that you were not sitting idle at that time, you were
exactly.
doing something. And I mean, Sharon knows that I still have a lot of interest in molecular biology. I still have a lot of research in drug design. I mean, it is still my second interest of choice. If someone takes out the battery part from me, obviously there will be molecular biology. So that's no doubt. So you should mention, yeah, they can't be related directly, but who knows? In some fields, I might. I mean, when I worked in biosensing the last year, my final project in sensing, initially I started with biosensing. Those knowledges actually helped because I knew about the molecular recognition from the perspective of drug design. So that knowledge, that interest, that push, and the biochemical agents, they helped actually. So everything helps. You don't know where it might come handy.
How much I should include from my last year master thesis, BTech, MTech, or MSc towards the SOP.
Well, it is hard to say because some there are many. I mean, if I talk from your IIT Kanpur perspective, then only the last semester is your complete thesis. And for IIT Kharagpur, until this year, I mean, because of the pandemic situation will be changed. But before the pandemic, the whole year it was as composed of a master thesis or master dissertation. So almost 40% works would have been completed by that time when you are applying.
Should I
Uh,
include the things to my SOP? This how what I have done in my master thesis. Should I include all
Yeah,
the things?
yeah.
How
You should include the kind of abstract, or you can include only the idea, because you are not going to spend more than 1 to 2 sentences on that. If you don't have the uh, I mean, you don't have enough space to contain it. Even if you have 2 pages, you don't have enough, because you need other things. Because you need to sell yourself more. Because the SOP will contain maximum on your interest, what you want to do there, not much on what you did. Yeah, experience matters, but hardly that will contain one paragraph. Your
I
academic,
I
yeah.
focus some particular questions that I want to focus in my PhD research, or I should write elaborately because I
Yeah,
have seen
yeah, yeah, yeah. That is the
in
main part. I would say that is the 25 to 30% of your SOP. That what you are going to address. And well, one thing for sure, you need to mention, even if it is not mentioned in the direction of the SOP, that well, the first thing, read the direction of the SOP, what the university wants, because sometimes some slight changes are there. Sometimes it say that what will be your role to the community, what will be your role to the research, what will be your role as a teaching assistant. Yeah, sometimes they ask the question, so try to address that too in your SOP. But what, even if it is not mentioned, what you should always address, that how your education, as you are a foreign student, you are coming from your native country, how your education over US, how your education over that particular university is going to benefit our country. Like if you are from India, then our India, or your community, your own community, it can be your city, even it can be your small town, how that is going to be benefited from your research, from your achievement.
should I include my future dream and how that can be manageable from my PhD work? How can achieve from I can achieve from my PhD work? Should I include that in my SOP?
Yeah, yeah, that should be. I mean, you need to address a long-term vision. I mean, in terms of management, the long-term goals, then the short-term goals, then uh, overall the big picture, what we call the big picture. These
And
three.
in the last paragraph of SOP, I know that I have to write why I choosing this university. So how about that? How should I write that?
Well, don't lie. The first thing, don't lie, because if you go and say to Iowa State University that Iowa State University is a good one, I got the offer from there, so I am not against them. But if you just go and say them that you are one of the top ranking university, that will be a sham. uh, I mean, it's a complete lie. It's a sham. It's completely. I mean, it's a 500 to 600 rank university, and you are going to tell them that you are going to a top ranking universities. No, what you should say, like my case is, I chose Iowa State University because of their national lab facility, and Iowa State is a place where the material science developed in US. It was part of the Manhattan Project, that national laboratory. I mean,
Your university choice.
well, university choice is individual. I don't want, I mean, I'm not focusing on my university choice, but I am focusing on how I chose the universities. It was like, for my case, I chose one on the very Ivy League one, and the rest, like five was in mid range, and three was in lower range. And I got the three offers all from the mid range, not from the lower range.
It is all
And
about talking for US or anything.
yeah, the waiting list, I mean, was on the waiting list of the UN, I mean, Northwestern. So, but I would not say, I mean, it's better, but I would not say that my choice was perfect. I mean, like, it's better to choose, if someone is good enough, it's better to choose like two to three from the top, two to three from mid range, and two to three from the lower range. Lower range in the sense, you are
I think
confirmed.
you should, as an Indian student, you should always choose for a lower rank, or for safety purpose. Arizona State, or let's say some other university are also there. So this takes
No,
the
it's not like the from the safety purpose. I would not like to. I mean, it's hard to say. It depends on your choice. I mean, uh, if I consider Colorado School of Mines, Material Science Department, or Mineral Engineering Department, Colorado School of Mines doesn't have a rank. It's a very small university, so it doesn't come into the ranking system of US. I mean,
uh,
overall.
Abhirup, cannot you say that's all about US? Abhirup, cannot you say how whether I can approach for Europe or Australia? How about that?
Well, Australia, Europe, and also partly Canada and UK, obviously, and South Korea. I am including all of them into a same category. They all come into, you have to search individual profs, then I mean professors, and then you have to write them that you are interested in their work. And if they are interested, they will talk to you, they might interview you. Okay, in US earlier the interview numbers were less, but now in my case I was interviewed from everyone. So that I mean this is a change in US standards, but in Europe obviously you will be interviewed, there is no question, if they are interested. And
Which I have to write, mailing to a professor, which I have to write, and which is the timeline, in which timeline
well,
I should.
at first search, I mean, there are two ways in writing the professor. Sometimes the professors advertise for positions. You can search the positions. There are a lot of websites like phdportals.eu. That is an European Union website for searching PhD positions. France has its own website for searching PhD position. They are under Campus France doctorate positions, or they call the doctorate sometimes licentiate in their French language. Then in universities like Netherlands, Norway, Nordic, I mean the Norway, Sweden, or Finland, you will find the PhD positions under jobs or career, because they consider the PhD studentship as a job. So you are actually going to gain a kind of professional experience during the PhD. And
Is that
in
timeline?
Australia, yeah.
What is the timeline to apply for this professors to mail this professor?
I would like to say for Australia, over the year, Netherlands also over the year. Most of the other countries also you can mail them anytime over the year. But in case of Germany, the hot timing is kind of late December or early January to March. Better to mail during January.
For Australia, what about? I have to mail in which timeline, and whether there are GRE requirement in Australia and TOEFL also
No,
required?
no, 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 no. Well, any English language, Australia, the professors might not need any language, but the scholarship procedure is different. You have to apply to, after your position is confirmed from the professor, then you can apply for the university positions, and laterally it will be, I mean, parallelly it will apply to a scholarship. There are three kinds of scholarship. One is the Australian government RTP, Research Training Program scholarship. Then another is university sponsored scholarship. The stipends are same, it's just the funding source are different. And then there is a TFS scholarship, which is tuition fee waiver scholarship, which is the tuition fees are waived by the university, and the stipend is being paid from the fund of the supervisor or the PI. Uh, so the scholarship might require, like RTP and university scholarship, they will obviously require an English language test. In preferable for Australia and Canada and UK, it is IELTS. In case of US, though people prefer TOEFL, I went through IELTS. Yeah, it makes a little difficult for 10% universities, because 5% are there which do not accept IELTS at all, and 5% departments are there who place the IELTS requirement a little bit higher than the TOEFL requirement, which makes a bit harder from the marking perspective. But
German,
but the
Germany.
other 90%, no, I am talking about US universities, but the
Oh,
other 90%, they take the IELTS and TOEFL similarly. They do not consider. But with increasing time, both will be just same. I mean, there is now another test is coming called Pearson. That is also good. I mean, they are actually using artificial intelligence to test the students. So it will, I mean, it depends on the time and where you are applying. Because I was applying to all of the countries, so I went for IELTS, because IELTS is more accepted over the TOEFL at UK, Canada, and Australia.
how
Depend,
much
I
you
mean,
need, how much you need in IELTS for at least US, Europe, Germany?
US most departments require 6.5 to 7 overall in IELTS. They grade in a band score of highest 9.0 band score with zero point 0.5 increments. So I had two IELTS score. One was 8.0, another was 7.5. It's okay to have that. I mean, 7.5 IELTS is equivalent to 106 to 110, and 8.0 is equivalent to 110 to 113 in GI in TOEFL equivalent.
And IELTS and TOEFL, is it really needed for Germany?
No, no, not at all. If not, the institutions I'm mentioning, some very high standard institutes are there under Max Planck Society. They might need you. They might ask you, not always, sometimes.
And what about the Australia selection procedure? In which basis they select? Only by
Uh,
mail?
well, at first the professor need to be, I mean, the professor is the 90% authority to choose you for the position. If you are being selected by the professor, you are being offered a position by a professor, you are 90% sure to get a position from the university itself. Now 10% is dependent on the university whether the scholarship is available. Like the professor told, I can't provide you a stipend. You need to have, I mean, be a university. Like what happens that if the student doesn't get the RTP or RTP scholarship, then it goes to either department or the professor to provide the stipend. It is a kind of their own standard. They have their own equations, and that's all. I don't know really much that how they choose. But what I know that Australian RTP will be obviously given to high standard students. Then the rest of it will go for the but the stipends are almost similar. I mean, similar. It's 28,092 for this year, so it's similar.
How much time actually needed for Australia, Europe, and Germany and US to complete the PhD?
Okay, Australia, the time period for PhD is traditionally 3.5 years. It can be extended up to 4 years, but not beyond 4. Then for Germany, it is said average 3 to 6 years. People completed by 3.5 years mostly. UK, no standard time, but funding has a limitation. Funding might be either for 3.5 to 4 years. And Netherlands, same. I mean, Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, similar like Germany, but mostly completed by 3.5 years. But in Denmark, it is compulsory to complete it by 3.5 years. Same goes with Japan. You have to complete it by 3 years, not a single day more than 3 years. And South Korea just same as Europe.
So, but anything more questions you can say for the viewers? Any answer you want to suggest for me?
Well, I mean, it's a long talks, but see, I can talk about whole day about that. So, like application to each and each part is different from others. But what I would like to suggest that start early because I experienced some unique type of problems. Someone else experienced another set of unique problems. Everyone will experience their own problems. And regarding this year, as the pandemic happened, for the next 1 and 2 years, there will be some rubbles and bubbles about this. I mean, lot of different situations will arise, lot of different procedures will arise, and lot of different positions will arise. Actually, you have to find the opportunities, and my opportunities might increase in one country, opportunities might decrease in one country, another country. Like US, it might become difficult for some 2 years because the economy is gone. But on the other hand, those countries which are handling COVID-19 in good perspective, they might have a better amount of funding in future. They might have a better chance to get students. Then again, on from the student perspective, students will be scared to apply to foreign universities for some years. But again, from Indian perspective, I don't know how India is going to behave in perspective of research and development funding in upcoming days because of the economy. So I would like to say that search everything. Don't be focused on a country. Focus on universities. Focus on your research interest. Focus on your goals, your achievements, and make the equation, I mean, put it on a linear equation, optimize it, which is best, choose that. That is the best choice. I mean, it's a game of probability. The more you apply, the more you search, the more you proceed, higher is the chance of getting it. Someone, I know a lot of students who didn't have that much good perspective but applied to 6 universities and got 5 out of them. And I know students who have a very great profiles and all, I mean, my seniors, my batchmates, but I have seen them start to struggle to get a position, even in general mid-range universities in US. Also in Europe, no one applies. Okay, one thing for Europe, if you are mailing a US professor, in 50% cases to 60%, 70% cases, even 100% cases, you will get a steady response, a good response, an encouraging response. But if you are mailing to a European prof, there is hardly 10% chance to get a reply. If they are not interested, they don't simply reply. But there is a good thing about non-reply. If they reply negative, you will not be able to reapply to them again,
Exactly.
even in 6 months. But if they are not answering, that means they are not interested in current position, or maybe they are unable to offer you a position at this moment. So it's okay, some, and make the emails good one. Sometimes you can even, I mean, I did actually, the professor I mailed at Australia, I actually commented on one of his works that, so I, it could have been done in this way. Whether it is possible or not, I felt that, well, it can had a little bit more study. These things are good, these practices are good. Actually, professors appreciate them. I mean, any people will appreciate them. That means you have gone through their works in detail, otherwise you would not have been able to comment on that. So these things are important, and sometimes if the professors are interested, even if they don't have a position, they might tell you to wait for another 6 months to create a position for you only. So my first supervisor told he mailed almost 82 professors to get 3 postdoc positions. So you can understand that what kind of competitions you are going to face. It's not actually a competition. I mean, the over the year, I mean, there are a lot of positions are vacant, but you need to find the proper positions.
Hope we have got all the informations, like how to choose university, how to mail the professor, which is the timeline, whether I should go for US, whether I should go for Europe or Germany or Australia. So I hope that is a really helpful information for our viewers, for our students, and for that, a really good thank you very much of you for giving us the information. Thank you
My
very
honor.
much.
My
Uh,
honor.
And if you have till now any questions, I know this is a broad topic. You can end your questions in your mind within 1 year until you will get admissions. I know there's all questions are going on, and for that you please follow up our channel for other questions. And till now, if you have any questions, you can just mail me, and I will give also mail of the Abhirup. You can also directly contact him. Okay, you can have any query, you can directly contact him. And just before finishing, I just want to thanks one more Abhirup. Thank you very much for
You
giving us
can
the
Sharon, you can provide my email with the link when you are
exactly
publishing. Yeah, they can mail me.
exactly that will be helpful. And we will have more series, how to write SOP, one series, and how to write a CV, what to include, how to mail professors, and everything we will provide you to your door. And keep watching our series. Until then, bye bye. This is Shayan. Thank you. Bye bye.